shirt up pose, like in the mirror thing.
I think that probably. Well, I know that everybody on the Ohio contingent of our crew has a pot belly.
That's true.
My belly is mostly gone at this point. I'm 38 pounds down, so
Holy dog cake!
pretty happy about that. I have like 12 pounds to go, and then I'll see where I'm at.
It's because you've been bicycling.
Been bicycling and eating significantly less food.
I
even somehow managed to lose half a pound on Thanksgiving week.
Wow. That's
There was
awesome.
one lineman for the Detroit Lions who gained like 9.5 pounds. He weighed himself before he sat down to dinner and after he stood up, and he gained 9.5 pounds at Thanksgiving dinner.
See, that's the kind of stuff that gets you killed by your own food.
Yeah.
That means he's a big drinker. Water is heavy as shit.
Actually, I think it's heavier than shit.
It's heavier than that. It's like if you drink, I forget what it is. It's like a gallon of water. It's like 10 pounds. I know a gallon is a lot, but
A gallon weighs 7 pounds.
okay.
A gallon of water weighs 7 pounds.
Okay. Well, yes. All right.
The only thing I hate about this angle is that you can't see my Christmas tree. God.
Sure you can. When you move like that, and you do move quite a bit during the show. It's kind of a reveal every time you move.
I'm like,
You're
what's
"Ta-da!"
behind the camera? And oh, look, it's a Christmas tree.
It's Christmas. I
Every
have the
time-
camera locked on you.
Every time you rotate, you should just say Merry Christmas, bitch, and then rotate back.
Okay.
Don't say
I
socialed us, so we're good to go there.
Well, we are broadcasting, so we can start whenever we want. We may want to, if you just socialed, why don't we give it about 2 minutes?
Okie dokie.
Erp.
We'll see. We can let some more folks join us from the beginning of the show. Thing is, how we'll only be like 2 minutes late this week.
So Cameron, you might appreciate this. I got this awesome box cutter on Amazon. It's like the coolest box cutter in the universe.
Hey, why don't you encourage?
Dude, it's
Right?
It's like a switchblade box cutter.
But wait, it gets better. So you see right here in this little gap,
beginning of the
the
show.
knife is actually in there, so you can use it to as like a gut hook or something. So you can like cut string and open the edges of boxes with it. It's awesome.
I need a link to that.
Yeah, I'll give you the link to that.
Wait, does it
I
open
think I need to-
clamshells though?
I think I need to buy one.
No, because it is a replaceable razor blade, so you just break it.
So I cannot log into the chat at all.
I can't log into the chat either.
Yeah,
I had
just
to get
use
in
a
through
Relier. It's a
Well,
client.
I got in through a
We're in
desktop
on
client.
a client.
Yeah, the client side seems so. It's not. It doesn't appear to be a problem with the server. It just appears to be a problem with the.
Yeah, the Kiwi crap. All right, Cameron, your link is in the chat.
Kiwi crap.
Oh yeah.
Much for dinner.
Oh, and it's Milwaukee too.
Yeah.
That's like the best, dude. It just hit my wish list. I'm gonna order it later. The
Is
next
it
time-
new Milwaukee or old Milwaukee? Or is it
yes.
Milwaukee's best?
It's Milwaukee's best.
Or is it Milwaukee Death Trip? Oh wait.
I love it. Oh my god, I want to sing it now so bad with Milwaukee instead of. Man, speaking of Milwaukee, God, I thought the Bucks were gonna beat the Mavs last night. They were so close, but man, Monte Ellis, God. that guy.
Milwaukee. Farm
Milwaukee.
money.
The thing that's been interesting about Milwaukee is a lot of the games they've lost like the Cleveland game they lost by 3. I mean, they've lost a ton of really good close games.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wanted to see Milwaukee win.
They're
just
supposed to be
because-
awful. That's the thing. That's what I think is awesome about this year. Is like there's only one team that's been supposed to be awful that actually is. I mean, even
Oh,
the
man.
Lakers are 5-0.
Shout out to the 76ers for being awful, predictably awful. Oh my God, with their 1-17 record, I know, dude. I was like, holy shit, they're on a 1-game winning streak. This is like, we should document this.
The Philadelphia Inquirer or whatever the sports page on it said that they came up 1 loss short of the record, but record was spelled WRECKORD. I thought that was pretty fitting.
I like it. Wrecked. I like
Funny
it.
thing is, that's not how you spell record. Duh.
That's how you spell record when you live in Philadelphia.
They
When
have
you're-
good cheesesteaks and AIDS victims.
You would think the
And
Philadelphia players would be better since they spend most of their days on the playground.
I don't think it's a victim. That's the wrong word.
that's true, they do, but they're probably not playing basketball.
Well,
I mean,
they're
unless
not. They're chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool.
I think the only one who's actually playing basketball is Michael Carter Williams, even though I hate his face.
Just his face.
No, there's just dude, his game is good. There's just something about his face that makes me
But there were a couple of guys in his neighborhood.
yeah. They were,
If any of
they
you
were
watching
good.
at the moment are having trouble getting into the IRC room, the web client does appear to be broken. So if you have a local IRC client on your machine, I would suggest using that.
David, you should type that in the IRC to let everyone know.
I should.
what's
Let's
up.
do that.
That's what's up.
He did, actually.
The server name is irc.and.irc.net, and the channel name is Android Police. No spaces.
Oh, it's irc.and.irc.net. That's interesting.
I think
Dirk and
that's
Dirk.
right.
I'm connecting to it through wastate.and.irc.net, which I guess would just be a mirror, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Was State. I like irkanddirk.net better, though.
Irkanddirk.net.
Irk and Irk employer.
It's Irk and Dirk.
Irk and Dirk lawyer.
Welcome to Irk and Dirk Associates. I'm Irk, and this is Dirk. How you
I'm
doing?
also
Dirk?
connected to wastate.and.irc.net, but I think if you put in irc.and.irc.net, it goes there.
Can I get a fat? We're gonna debut a new segment at the end of the show. It's called Irk and Dirk.
Dirk? Is that like a bed and breakfast?
It is. It's kind of like Dink and Dunk.
That doesn't sound
Dink and-
nearly as good.
Well, no, Dink and Dunk is a bed and breakfast where you just, get a room for the night and then you have donuts in the morning.
Got it. So that's when you pass out drunk at the Dunkin'
it's a
Donuts.
pay by the
Pay
hour
by the
bed and
hour
breakfast.
bed and breakfast.
You get a room and donuts. Dink and Dunk. I like it.
Oh boy. All right, I guess we're ready to go live, aren't we?
Well, we're live, but
We are live.
can start.
We're ready to go. Yeah, the start of the show.
The record button and the music and the Android musings.
Musings.
That's correct.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, December 4th, 2014. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Ruddock.
I'm Cameron Summerson.
I'm Liam Sproutlin.
And I need to get my medications adjusted. My name is Bob Severance. Welcome to the show.
David, it sounded like it was a question. I'm David Ruddock?
I wasn't sure.
You weren't?
He almost
Sure.
said his name was Roy or some stupid shit like that.
God! Let's get this show started right.
Okay.
Roy is really David's name, and that's why it was almost funny. That's true.
All right, so we're going to kick off Google this week with a new Android update. 5.01 has hit AOSP and rolled out to some devices out there. So, Liam, do we know what's new?
Some bug fixes, basically. The list is not that long, but it's pretty much what you would expect for a 0.0.1 update. The build is LRX22C. It's already in AOSP. There are some factory images if you haven't got the OTA yet.
So
But
far,
yeah.
I think the OTAs hit the Nexus 9, Nexus 10, and Nexus 7. Is that right?
I believe so.
So, if
But
you
not-
haven't gotten it on your
not
Nexus
all the
5 or
Nexus
Nexus 6
ones,
yet,
so.
don't be surprised.
I haven't
just
gotten
waiting
it
for
on
the-
my Nexus 9 because the Nexus 9 is terrible. That's my logic.
I'm waiting for the Oda to hit the Yoda. Oh.
The Yoda. Okay, so also this week, Google made some little verbiage changes that might make it so that 5.0.1 update may not be hitting your device quite as quickly as you're hoping if you have a Nexus or GPE device, right, David?
Yeah, so the change to this help article, or support article, I should say, on Google's website, basically all it says now is it says that the wait to get an update may be longer based on your carrier. That's the only change. And they didn't explain why they changed it, obviously, and they never will explain why they changed it because it's just a stupid support page. But
Perhaps we should speculate wildly about it then.
We should. That's exactly what we should and are going to do. I think we have pretty good basis for speculation here, though, because we know Google has had basically SIM-based targeting of OTA updates or withholding of them. It targeted a update to the Nexus 7 2013 specifically for Verizon versions of the device at one point, and it's also withheld updates from the Telstra network in Australia for Nexus devices there. So we know Google has the ability to do this. So it's not a question of mechanism. Now they may do this by some kind of SIM identifier or an MDN, basically. And even if you remove your SIM, supposedly they can still identify what network you were last on. So what we're probably seeing here, in my opinion, is that with the Nexus 6 being out on 3 of the major 4 U.S. carriers and being compatible with all 4. Basically, I'm guessing the carriers probably got a concession out of Google that, hey, we want to test your software before you approve it. So if we test it and we find a problem, we want the ability to withhold the update from our customers until the problem is fixed. That would be my guess, and I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to request for the carriers, generally speaking, because honestly, Nexus devices can be pretty buggy, and customers of carriers, they rarely go to the manufacturer of the device. They go to the carrier, which is typically where they bought it or where they expect to get service. So carriers are covering their asses here. Admittedly, it is kind of annoying, but when it comes to Nexus devices and GPE devices alike, it doesn't matter if one carrier gets withheld. As long as somebody gets the update and the zip file gets out there, you can update your phone, regardless of whether or not the update's being withheld. So as long as the file makes it out there or the factory image is released, you can update. This is just more to protect people who don't want to or otherwise would not flash these kind of things on their own.
And that's probably an important thing to keep in mind for those of you who are immediately going to go to the Verizon Galaxy Nexus example of why this is such a horrible thing, because that one was had different hardware inside of it, so you couldn't just flash the image that was available for the Play edition or whatever.
That's correct. So this is a totally different situation. All of the Nexus 6s all over the world run the exact same ROM. It doesn't matter what country it's in. It doesn't even matter if it supports different LTE bands. They all have the same ROM. They have different radios, but the ROM itself is separate from that layer, so it doesn't matter.
But the ROM could potentially cause a problem, right, with your radio or the firmware of your radio.
It could, and that's why a carrier might choose to withhold it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously being the suggestion there.
So even though the zip may be available, update at your own risk.
Pretty much.
All right, so speaking of updates and GPE devices, the LG G Pad that you may have gotten from the Play Store, the Google Play Edition version, of course, is getting its Lollipop update this week. Also, the Sony Z Ultra, which is the closest thing you can get to a tablet without actually being a tablet, is getting its Google Play Edition update as well. So, have one of those. You should probably already have it. If not, check for updates. All right, so let's talk about T-Mobile and the LTE Nexus 9. We thought it was going to be available right around now, the beginning of December, very very soon, if not already. And it looks like we really don't know when to expect it at this point, right, David?
That's right. So based on unverified internal communication obtained by T-Mo News, T-Mobile is telling all of its retail partners the Nexus 9 LTE is not going to launch when they said it was going to launch, and it is being postponed indefinitely at this point. Obviously, it's not going to be months and months, but it's going to be longer than it was. There's no reason given as to why this is happening. It's entirely possible it could be due with the shipment delay. It could be potentially due to them producing new units up to a higher standard of quality. We don't know if that actually ever happened, but it's possible, I guess. It could be that they're flashing newer software to them, and they need time to do it. There are myriad potential explanations here, so we'll see what happens. This probably also means that Amazon and Google's orders for the LTE version in the U.S. may be delayed as well.
All right, good deal. Well, not a good deal. I said that.
Bad deal.
I always say that. That's a bad deal. I guess it's okay if you're not planning on buying it. You should be pretty indifferent. But let's talk a little bit about Google Glass, which actually hasn't made our topic list very much lately because, well, the hardware that's out there is pretty much the same hardware we've been seeing for about 2 years. But it sounds like there might be a refresh coming soon, right, Cam?
So first off, I want to point out that it totally sounded like you said Google ass. When you said it. Let's talk about Google ass. Google's butt machine.
I thought it was Samsung that had the butt machine.
Can the Samsung and Google butt machines fight?
That would be an interesting fight. I would watch.
The word is okay ass.
They can have a twerk off.
Okay ass. Okay booty. So yeah, but speaking of Google Glass, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the next iteration of Google Glass, which we could see sometime soon, may have Intel inside. There's really not a whole lot more than that to it, but I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Intel has really been pushing hard lately to really become a legitimate competitor in Android devices. I mean, they even a lot of I've reviewed probably 4 or 5 tablets lately that have Intel in them, and it's getting better. So because I've never been a big fan personally of Intel devices, they've always just been really quirky, laggy. But the most recent ones I've been impressed with. Nexus Player has Intel in it, so we know that Google and Intel have a relationship, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this happening because I'm pretty sure Intel is basically giving away chips at this point to get people to actually use them. Because
absolutely.
They're trying really desperately to get into this market and to I mean they have been for a few years now, but I mean I think the biggest push has been coming these past probably 6 or 8 months.
Yeah, I talked to a popular tablet OEM, let's say. And they said Intel is just pushing so hard to get their chips into devices, and they're offering a lot of incentives. They're not necessarily that much cheaper than Qualcomm or NVIDIA, but the retail experience Intel has, helping with sell-through, helping to get advertisements for Intel products out there and stuff, and their ability to work with suppliers is something that the Qualcomm and NVIDIA and Samsung's Exynos, they can't match it. So they're giving a lot of incentives, not to mention apparently they are selling pretty cheaply. So that is probably a big part of why there's so many more Intel processors. That and the whole x86 problem on Android is largely resolved.
Yeah, they're just the performance is still not where it needs to be though in comparison to most modern ARM chips. I mean, if you take the newest Qualcomm mobile chip and put it head to head with the new Tegra chip or the newest Snapdragon, it's going to get smoked by both of them. I mean, it's just not there. It's great. I do think that they're good for budget devices or anything that doesn't need a whole lot of hardware to push. So for the use of Google Glass, I think it's probably okay because there's not a whole lot going on there that it needs a substantial amount of processing power.
Yeah, it just needs to be very, very slow on energy consumption.
Yeah. And I think Intel has kind of done a pretty decent job, lately of managing good battery life, at least comparable to what we're already used to. It may not be anything magnificent, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that if the reason they're going with Intel is maybe because Intel's got something in the 18 nanometer process, or maybe 20 nanometer that they're going to be able to put in Glass. Because the smaller you can push process, usually the lower the energy consumption.
Yeah, true. Truth.
So yeah.
Just figured out to leave some awkward silence in here because we gotta fill for space, right?
Definitely.
Plus.
What?
What?
What's going on right now?
I don't know.
Actually, a whole lot of nothing. It's just
what's the
awkward
haps,
for the sake
guys?
of awkward.
Matt had a brain fart.
No, there was no brain farts. It was all purposeful.
Matt
farts.
had a purposeful brain fart.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Google Inbox or Gmail Inbox, whichever you want to call it. It's come on the scene. People are either in love with it or hate it. I think is pretty much the general theme. But the team that's behind that product happened to head on over to Reddit for an Ask Me Anything session, and we got some good information that came out of that. So, Liam, what do we know?
Yeah, basically, most of the answers were either we're thinking about it or we're working on it. So a lot of questions that people have been asking, like when is app support coming, when is this or that feature coming from Gmail to Inbox, were answered with eventually. Like they're working on it actively. So, I mean, that's not very surprising, but one thing that was interesting was that somebody, of course, asked what the future is between Inbox and Gmail as far as like whether they're going to merge. And the team member that responded said that in the short term they're not going to merge, but in the long term the team hopes so. So it sounds like it's not a definite thing that one will replace the other, but it seems like they want to bring Inbox up to speed with Gmail first and then maybe go from there.
Right on. All right, so also in the Google app universe, I guess. I don't know. I start sentences without knowing where they're going sometimes.
Appyverse.
But also in the Google app universe, the support for additional Microsoft Office file types has been delivered to your docs and your sheets and all your various Google Docs. So, David, what does that mean as far as the growing relationship between Office Docs and Google Apps?
I wasn't aware I put my name on this, so I'm gonna guess it means you can edit more Microsoft Office file types by converting them to Google formats and probably screwing up things in the process, because that's generally been my experience with converting Microsoft file formats to Google file formats. But maybe it's better now. I haven't done it in a while. But you can do that now. So you can now, turn your Excels into Google Sheets and your DocXs into Google Docs and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Can you do templates or pivot tables or... Okay, I'm guessing the answer to all that is no, but...
I do not believe Sheets yet has pivot tables.
That's what it needs, pivot tables. That's where it's at.
It is. Pivot tables. They're hip.
They are. All right, let's move on to Carrier 411.
Carrier 411.
All right, so we talked a little bit in last week's show, or maybe the week before, about some of the different methods that carriers are using to get quote-unquote bloatware on the Nexus 6. And while this may not particularly pertain to Nexus, obviously there was changes in Lollipop that made system apps a little less necessary for carrier bloat, and it seemed like it was going to be a really cool thing, but now it looks like carriers might just come up with a completely different way to make bloatware suck even worse, right, David?
Yeah, so this thing is called Digital Turbine Ignite, and it's not super cool. So the idea is that carriers, typically they're probably going to do this through a firmware update because they want Digital Turbine Ignite to be a system app, so they want to cook it into the ROM. Digital Turbine Ignite is essentially like a bloatware beacon. Like once it's installed, then it sends out a signal to the bloatware, the bloatware gods to send down their bloat from on high, and it's then on your phone or tablet or whatever.
I'm really glad you described it this way because now I totally have that scene from Wreck-It Ralph in my head, and that's how I'm going to think about bloatware from now on.
Yeah, that's good.
The beacon scene.
And the bloatware comes down silently and stealthily in the night. In other words, DT Ignite, because of the permissions it has, does not have to show you it's installing anything, and it doesn't have to give you any notice whatsoever. These things just show up in your app drawer out of the blue. Now, the upside to DT Ignite is that anything it downloads can be removed because it doesn't have root permissions. It can't install anything as a system app. So once a bloat is downloaded, you can remove it, and then, according to a knowledgeable source I spoke with, it should not reinstall. There's no behavior built into DT Ignite to do that. If you do a factory reset, or there are potentially some really weird situations that could happen, or a bug, it might reinstall itself again, but even then you can just remove it again and it won't come back. So the issue with DT Ignite is first the notice issue. You get no notice that this bloatware is being downloaded to your phone. It's just there one day, and I don't think that's cool at all, especially considering how many permissions this app has. The whole silent aspect is nefarious, in my opinion. It's not cool. The second problem is that once it's on your device, I mean, it's on there. You can turn it off, obviously, but most people won't know to do that. And there is no admission from Digital Turbine at this point that the software cannot be used to then later install more bloatware on your device after first boot at the carrier's discretion. And it can very much do that because of the permissions it has. It can update the bloatware that's on your phone, and it can definitely install new bloatware down the line. So it's not as bad in some senses as ROM-baked bloatware on your phone because A, it reduces the amount of testing the carrier is doing when they certify a new ROM, and B, anything it downloads you can remove, but it is worse in terms of providing notice and the amount of power it has over your phone.
I guess the other thing that's concerning to me is that depending on what it's downloading and what the specifics are behind how it's able to do that, is it could be burning through your data plan too, right?
The source I spoke to says that's not how it works. The data should be basically dog-eared, is zeroed by your carrier. So, I mean, but that's up to your carrier to be able to do that. So,
right.
How much do you trust AT&T and Verizon to meter your data correctly?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they the ones who put this damn thing on there in the first place?
They are. So I'm not, I wouldn't be super trustworthy there either. I would assume it would generally work, but I can definitely see situations where, yeah, maybe they're still working out glitches.
I'm looking at their website right now, and I'm pretty sure that they've changed the language on the front page.
Interesting. I'm sure they have, because this has probably been a pretty bad situation for them.
I just remember when this was first kind of being talked about, it explicitly said that it enabled apps to be installed in the preload or post-load process. It didn't define those things, but now post-load is totally gone.
Is it? Okay, it did say post-load before. They definitely edited it.
So, yay.
I guess we're making a difference. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, so this is actually a little bit more on the good news. That is, if you are a fan of switching carriers, because that's pretty much all deals in carrier world have to do with anymore. Is you can't get a deal on a carrier contract unless you are switching from somebody else. So, Sprint's got a new one. Cam's going to tell us about it.
I am. So basically, the deal is, if you're coming from AT&T or Verizon, Sprint will literally take your current plan, put you on the most comparable one that they have, and give it to you for half the price that you're currently paying. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's a limited offer. I think it starts tomorrow, which is Friday. So it's today if you're listening tomorrow, and it's yesterday if you're listening the day after tomorrow.
You could never listen to the show tomorrow. It would always be today when you're listening.
But it's not. I want it to be not.
What if I'm listening yesterday?
See, if you're listening yesterday,
you can only listen to now. What's happening now is now. What happened to then? We just passed it. When? Now.
I don't think that's true.
Everything we're doing now is happening now.
I think so.
Spaceballs.
Yeah. So anyway, you can go to sprint.com/halfprice for more info on what's up. But yeah, if you're on AT&T and Verizon, AT&T or Verizon, you're probably not on both. But if you're on one or the other and you're looking to switch to Sprint for some reason, I don't know, then yeah, you can save half of the dollars you currently use.
Not only does it cut your monthly bill in half, it also cuts the number of towers you can connect to in half.
It cuts your service in half.
That's right. So that's the trade-off. Obviously, if you're in a relatively decently sized metropolitan area and they have
Like Waukegan.
yes, like Waukegan, they have towers in plenty where you're at, then it's probably worth it. But if you travel a lot or you live in the sticks, what's good coverage worth to you? I guess.
If you live in a stick, you're an insect, and you do not have a mobile phone.
You don't. That's true.
This is telephone for ants. Let's move on to product reviews.
It's time for product reviews. This week, Amazon Fire HD Kids Lightning Review.
That's the sound lightning makes, I think.
It is. I heard it before. That's exactly what it sounds like.
I thought it was storming here when I first heard it. I was like, what was that?
That's actually the sound thunder makes. Lightning doesn't make a sound.
It does. It makes the sound you just made because that sounded nothing like thunder.
You have to listen really closely.
Yeah. It does that. It goes... It's just really quiet.
Isn't thunder the sound of lightning breaking the sound barrier?
I don't know, but probably.
I mean, it might be. That sounds right. We can ask the Google thing. Somebody do that.
Why would you do
while I'm
that?
talking about this Amazon tablet. Find
Why
out.
would
Find
anyone
out the
do that?
answer to this question. So yeah, the Amazon Fire HD Kids tablet. So a couple of weeks ago, Ryan and I reviewed we tag team reviewed the Kindle Fire HD 6 and the 7. He did the 7, I did the 6, and I also had the 6-inch Fire HD Kids tablet. So basically, in a nutshell, it is exactly the same as the Fire HD 6, but it has Free Time Unlimited, which is Amazon's like sort of thing for kids, like the interface for kids, which you can put Free Time on any of the new Kindle tablets. And but Free Time Unlimited offers access to Amazon stuff like books and movies and videos and things like that. And you get a year of it for free with the Fire HD Kids. You also get the little protective bumper, and it's got a 2-year warranty, which is the coolest thing about it. It's got a 2-year, no questions asked warranty. So if you get it for your 3-year-old, because it's designed for like kids ages 3 to probably 8. I would say anything over 8, you probably just want to go with the regular Kindle Fire HD, because at that point the Free Time thing is a little too childlike. So anyway, the warranty, if you give it to your 3-year-old and they decide they want to throw it out the window of a moving car and it gets all busted up, Amazon will replace it, no questions asked, for 2 full years. So that's pretty cool, but because of that, it's also a little bit more expensive. It's about $50 more. The 6-inch model is $150, whereas the regular 6-inch tablet is just $99. So you're paying a little bit extra. You get the warranty, you get the bumper, you get Free Time Unlimited. So it kind of balances itself out. But all in all, I think that this, I don't know, it might be the best kids tablet out there right now, given the warranty, the price, the performance, and everything else. I really like it. The one feature, I mean, the one thing. Well, I guess there are 2 things really that are kind of bad about it. One, it doesn't have Google Play, of course, because it's an Amazon tablet, so it only has access to the Amazon ecosystem. And secondly, it has the max you can get is 8 gigabytes of internal storage, and it is non-expandable. There's no SD card slot, so that really sucks because it can fill up quickly, especially like most kids. If your kid is addicted to Minecraft, like so many are now, I mean, Minecraft can eat up some space pretty quickly. Especially if they make custom maps and all that Minecrafty crap. I don't know. My kids play it, but I don't pay attention to what that is. So, yeah, those are the 2 biggest downsides. Other than that, for the price, I think it's a fantastic tablet. The 7-inch model, I think, is $190 or $180. I think it's $180 for the 7-inch model. So there's that. But I think for a kid's tablet, it's awesome. And I really like the fact that you can take it out of the bumper, and it's just a regular Kindle. It's just a regular Kindle tablet. So you can jump into another profile, an adult profile, and you've got a tablet. So if you're looking for something that maybe your younger kid, an older kid can share, or you can share with your kids, or something like that, then I think it's the best choice out there. If you want something just for your kids, it's still a good choice, but there's also like the Dream Tab and the Nabi tablets, which they're pretty decent. So yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
This would have been nice 2 years ago. True story. My dad buys a tablet for my nephew, who I think was 6 at the time. He stepped on it and broke it on Christmas morning, literally within an hour of having it.
Yeah, that I got my son, not my son, my stepson, a Shield portable for his birthday, for his 9th birthday. No, not 9th, 11th. His
It was
11th
his
birthday.
9th, 11th birthday.
Yeah,
so
it was his. I have a 9-year-old stepson and an 11-year-old stepson, so I get them, and also a 9-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son. So the age things, I have to try to keep up with them, and that's just too much. Anyway, it was my oldest stepson, so it was his 11th birthday. We got him a Shield tablet. The night we gave it to him, he put it on charge and then stuck it in the little protective case that you can buy for the Shield tablet, which put the USB cable in a bind, broke the USB port so it wouldn't charge anymore, and I had to file a warranty claim on it to get him a new one. And he was so upset. He was so upset for he was just distraught. I was like, dude, I can fix this. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I was going to try to fix it myself, but then I was like, you know what? Nah, I'll just get a new one, file it on the warranty. But man, he was so upset about that.
cool.
It wasn't cool.
Yeah.
Did you put the voicemail in the thing?
Yeah.
What's it labeled?
2.
Voicemail 2?
Voicemail 2.
All right.
Yes.
Dude. Voicemail 2. Here's a voicemail.
We don't know what
Hello,
it's
gentlemen. This is Matt. I had some questions on the Qualcomm quick charging technology and would appreciate your help in answering them. The questions are follow. First of all, is the Qualcomm technology really as fast as Qualcomm and the phone manufacturers claim? Charging your phone, 8 hours and 15 minutes or whatever. Question number 2, how will this impact my battery? If I'm only using the quick charger, will it decrease the lifespan of my battery? Clearly, certainly with phones that are not replaceable, I want to make sure that it'll last and maintain its durability for those little 2 years that I would have it. Question number 3, in general, what's the best approach just dealing with the questions of battery for maintaining the battery health so that it will maintain its virility for the full 2 years that I'm likely to have the phone? As always, your answers are appreciated, and although it's after Thanksgiving, I just want to thank you guys for answering the various questions I've had in the past, and also, without a doubt, for the podcast and for the website, which I go to at least 3 times a week. Thank you, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too, Matt.
So this is one that I can answer because I've researched it to a slightly weird degree because I became curious about it at some point.
That's usually what leads to research.
It does. So Qualcomm's quick charge technology, it's hard to tell if it's actually anything special because now we have Motorola and Samsung both offering their own quick charging solutions which aren't branded as quick charge. Although it's entirely possible that they're using Qualcomm's quick charge technology and they have some kind of licensing deal where they don't have to call it that, but I don't think that's the case. I think they all arrived, kind of the same solution because it wasn't a particularly difficult solution to arrive at, maybe. That or the secret just got out and Qualcomm didn't have a patent on it or something. Either way, they're all basically the same as far as I can tell. There's no difference in the way all these methods work. They're just pushing more amperage and slightly more voltage into the phone, and they're probably doing this by basically using a more complex power interface so that they can charge more cells in the battery at once. Basically, just putting more pipes that go to the battery because their battery is made up of multiple cells. It's not just one cell. So with lithium-ion batteries, typically you can't put more than 1.6 volts into a single cell at a given time because you'll basically screw it up. You could cause damage to a decreased capacity. And then there's the issue of amperage, which is a separate thing. You can put full amperage into a battery, lithium-ion battery, for one stage of charging. The way lithium-ion batteries work is kind of weird. Charging is not linear. It's not. I don't think there's really an equation that would describe it that I'm aware of at my high school level of mathematics education. But lithium-ion batteries, they have two stages in charging. They have I forget what they're called now because I haven't looked at this in a couple months. But basically, in the first stage, you can pump a bunch of amperage into the battery, and that will speed up the charging process to a point. So you may be able to get like 60% full in this first stage, but then it has to fill the capacity. And at that point, you have to start tapering off the amperage because it's just not going to accept any more and keep the voltage constant. So it charges much more slowly for the second stage. But the more slowly you do the first stage, the more quickly the second stage is over. So it's kind of like a proportions thing. Now, what these quick charge technologies are doing is they're completing the first stage on the cells as quickly as they can, basically. And they're doing probably the second stage on the cells that have already completed the first stage at the same time. As far as benefits and drawbacks, any battery's enemy at the end of the day is heat. So the more heat is generated by the battery, the shorter the cycle lifetime is going to be. It's just a fact. There's nothing you can do about that. So the hotter it gets, the less cycle lifetime you're going to get out of your battery. So one of the worst ways to reduce your cycle lifetime is to use your phone while it's on the charger, because you're just compounding the heat issue by using it at the same time. It's really actually very bad for it to use it while it's on the charger. As far as how bad these new technologies hurt your battery versus charging more slowly, say at the traditional maybe 1.2 amps and whatever volts, about 7.5 watts is the typical Android wattage, the amount of power you would put into a phone before these quicker charging technologies came about. I don't think anybody's actually researched that. There's obviously more heat generated by this just because of the physics, I guess. So it obviously is going to have an effect on cycle lifetime, but I would assume the manufacturers have looked into this and decided that it's not going to affect that many people or enough people to really matter. But if you're constantly charging your phone a lot, like multiple times a day, yeah, quick charging could probably significantly impact your cycle lifetime. But again, I don't have any numbers on that. So yeah, that's what I know about quick charging.
I think that was pretty definitive. I don't have anything to add. Anybody else?
I haven't even used a quick charger with my Nexus 6, so no.
I will say it is. Wait, but it comes with a quick charger.
It does.
I haven't used it.
Oh,
It's stupid fast.
It is really, really fast.
Stupid dumb fast.
I don't.
Like-
I don't. It's. Let's see. I don't even know. Oh, let's see. There's the cable, and maybe the charger. Oh, look, there's the charger. Oh,
The
my
charger
camera's over here now.
You should
Large.
totally use it.
It's way
And
too
when
big.
you're-
You
when
know
you're
it's like
motorized,
90% empty space in that charging brick. They just want it to look big so it feels like, oh, turbo, big, beefy.
Yeah, I mean the only time I charge my phone is at night because I actually don't need to charge it more than that, which is one thing I love about the Nexus 6. I used to have to charge my Nexus 5 twice a day, but I just use my wireless charger overnight, so I haven't had need to use.
Yeah, there's been a couple situations where I remember, okay, I've got to go somewhere, but I didn't put my phone on charger last night, and in the 15 minutes it takes me to get ready before we leave or whatever, that like puts 20% on the battery, so it's super helpful.
The
That's
only
cool.
the only other thing that I would add that we haven't really talked about too much yet is the way I understand it, lithium-ion battery technology likes to have electrons moving and likes to be charged. So, in other words, a bad thing to do for lithium-ion batteries is to use your battery from full charge to dead and then charge it back up to full charge. It doesn't actually like going all the way down and doing full cycles. So really the best way that you can care for lithium-ion batteries is having chargers at home, work, in the car, and whenever you're not using the phone, keep it on the charger.
The other thing in regard to what you're saying there is you shouldn't. Technically, they don't recommend you fully charge your lithium-ion batteries at all. Like they say, 75, 85% is as high as you should go because past that point, you're putting more stress on the battery, and the battery doesn't like that. Full discharges can be helpful occasionally. Even Apple recommends you do a monthly full discharge.
Once a month, yeah.
To make sure the calibration is right, but this probably has an effect at the most, plus or minus 5%.
Cool.
All right. Well, I think let's take the opportunity right now to open up for questions from the chat.
Well, first of all, we'll see if we have any questions from the chat.
Well,
I'm not even in the chat.
but we're gonna have to wait because the chat is probably listening to 2 minutes ago right now.
We are going to have to wait. That's true.
Messages from the future.
We do have a question. It comes from a Martin McFly. He says, "What the hell is a gigawatt?"
Martin McFly.
Martin.
Martin.
Martin McFly.
Oh, Martin.
Come on, let's wrap this up. I want to go watch some girl being Peter Pan on television. That was sarcastic.
I don't understand.
I don't either.
There's a live Peter Pan on the TVs, and there's a female.
Yeah, I agree that the whole 75% to 85% charging thing is highly impractical because who does that? I mean, nobody, obviously.
I don't know.
In order for somebody to do the 75 to 80% charging, I think you'd have to develop a phone that could falsely report it's at 100% when it's at 75.
That, and I've always wondered about that. Like, I wonder how many manufacturers have thought about doing that and then thought, no, we'll get sued if it doesn't turn out to be true or something. Because it makes sense.
Well, Apple falsely reported carrier bar strength for a while there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say more that they interpreted it literally. Because really, I mean, what the whole issue was that they wanted the signal to be reported in a linear fashion, and Apple wasn't doing it in a linear way.
Cameron, why are you holding?
Cameron's picking his nose, so he's holding his Nexus in front of the screen.
Actually, a pretty good idea.
I'm not.
That's what you say. You have plenty of time to move.
Okay, we have a question. This one goes out to AP Cam. Cameron.
I'm me.
That's your weight loss talk. What's your secret?
Oh man, it's super easy. Super easy. So, like I said, I've lost like 37, 38 pounds now, and I ride my bike as much as possible, and I cut calories, and I count. That's it. I count calories. I still eat all the same stuff that I ate before. I just eat less of it. I was really hungry for the first week and a half, 2 weeks while I adjusted to that transition. But I mean, during the transition period. But other than that, I mean, that's it. That is literally it. I try to ride. Like during the warmer months, it was easier because I would ride like 4 or 5 times a week at night most of the time. But now that it's getting colder, I've actually been mountain biking more than I have been road cycling, which is different for me because I haven't mountain biked since I was a kid. So I'm just riding like a single speed beater mountain bike and having an absolute blast doing it because mountain biking is so much better when it's cold outside because it's not as cold in the woods or something. I don't know. It's not as open, so you don't get that cold, icy wind. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I try to ride now 3 to 4 times a week and eat less.
And as Freddie Mercury says,
Get on your bike and ride!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I rode every day this week.
I don't think Freddie Mercury says that, actually.
he doesn't anymore because he's dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Talk about Freddie Mercury being dead and everybody shuts up.
That was a good Q&A, guys.
Was good. There was a Q, there was an A. I think that was successful.
Oh, wait. We got a question for you, AP David. Larry King, question mark? Oh, that's something else. I'm just gonna read.
Warranty fraud question?
I'm just gonna read random questions from earlier in the show out of context and see if you guys want to answer them.
Oh, that'd be great. Let's do it.
So, let's see. Do we have any questions earlier?
Not AT&T, right?
Not AT&T, right? I would say
not
right.
if you can help it.
Oh, for carrier picks?
I don't know.
We're not giving context here, David. That's against the rules.
No context.
No context. Oh, so if I buy it from the Play Store, this app will install once you put a SIM in it?
You can't put a SIM in an app. What a stupid
Oh,
question.
no. Okay, as far as the bloatware download, the automatic bloatware, so the way that works is if you don't have a SIM in during the phone setup process, it won't download the bloatware with Google's thing because there's no association, or there's no prior association either with SIM. Even like I got my Nexus 6 from AT&T, and it didn't download stuff automatically when I set it up because I didn't have the SIM card in it. So that should be how it works. If you have a SIM card in when you set up and you're on provider, then yeah, it should trigger the whole Play Store automatic bloatware download business.
We do have a question from... Oh, go ahead.
Hold on, I'm going to address this here. Freak Fidel says that answer did not involve enough Android. I am not satisfied, which I can only assume was about my weight loss thing because he was the one who asked. So I track all my rides with Runtastic, and I've been using MyFitnessPal to count calories. So how's that for Android?
Boom, there you go.
Are you using
this advertised?
Cameron, are you using Runtastic's new butt shaping app?
I am not. I might.
Why don't they
I'm
call
not-
it Buntastic?
No, I wanted him to call it Runtastic.
Runtastic?
I think I like Buttastic better.
Buttastic would work too, but
Could be Baby Got Bastic.
Oh my God, it could be. I think it should be. So no, I'm not using that because I'm mostly trying to lose weight and not shape my ass. But if I ever feel the need, or if I'm ever like, wow, I really need to, I don't tone my ass, then I guess Runtastic's butt app. What is it called? I wrote about it. Butt trainer. That sounds weird, doesn't it? It's like sit. I'm gonna train my ass to sit. So yeah, I'll go for that one. But
I couldn't control my problem with random twerking until I got Butt Trainer. Now my butt listens to me anytime I want to just sit there and not do anything. Hey, we have one more out of context question. Freak Fidel asks, "Isn't that a game that old people play?"
Yes.
What? Butt trainer?
Old people and hipsters.
Yes, that's true.
Hipsters do love them some bocce ball.
So if hipsters use butt trainers, does that make them buttsters? Technically, butts are hips, so I guess it's a wash. Wait a minute, hipsters don't wash. All right, we're done. See you next week.
I guess next time we want to do an impromptu QA, we should probably be a little less impromptu about it.
You can't.
Yeah.
Right. These things require planning. Could be that next time we have a show with 10 topics in it, we'll just skip a week.
It could be.
That's a joke. We will be here every week. Whether you like it or not, you will listen to every damn word we have to say.
We could do an episode of hand Christmas trees.
Oh, so next we're speaking. Oh wait, we're not done yet. So if we could roll the outro. I have some clerical stuff.
Meta news.
So I have to go offline in the Hangout as well?
I don't think so. Just the outro is probably fine.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
We hope you enjoyed the show. As always, you can send us feedback to podcast@greatplace.com. You can also call us at 530-HELLO-IP. That's 530-435-5627. Find us on Twitter at Great Place, Google Plus, and Facebook.
So next week I'm going to be on vacation. So if I don't know who's off that week, or if maybe Michael would want to cover, or Bertel,
Or as they say in England, on holiday.
I will be on holiday.
You're not going to come onto the podcast from an exotic locale.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that.
I liked it the last time you did that.
That was an exotic locale.
Well, next week would technically be Liam's week off. Oh. Somebody should ask him if he wants to fill in.
I can do it, guys.
I'll ask him.
Do
Can you message him in hip chat?
Can you ask
Wait,
Liam
yeah,
if he's covered for me next week?
do a butt
And then I'm
test?
gonna say no.
Butt chat. Butt chat. Butt trainer chat. Train your butt chat.
Can somebody actually get a carrier pigeon to teach it to send a Hangouts message to Liam?
So Liam said he might be able to do the podcast next week.
Okay.
We had Carrier
noted.
Pigeon 411 to the show.
Yes.
Oh, can we have a bocce ball episode
We could have a bocce ball
where
episode.
we all play bocce ball? But I guess we can't play together because we're. Not the
But
same.
we all have to wear Bermuda shorts and dress socks.
Okay, guys, this is our chance to meet in Kansas City for the APHQ grand unveiling.
Man.
The
Bocce
annual
ball.
Android Police Bocce Ball Tournament.
Yes.
Invitational. The Bocce Invitational.
To be fair, that makes about as much sense as an Android
As a
barbecue.
turducken roast.
I kind of want to make a poster for this. Also, whenever we do get APHQ, it needs to have a bocce ball court.
It does.
Oh, hold on. There's the question
And a
in the chat.
bicycle table.
Does the AT&T branding on my Nexus 6 bother me? Well, hell no. I forgot it was even there until you said that.
Yeah, that doesn't bother
Now
me.
you bother him.
Except for the boot up noise. The boot up jingle can kiss my ass.
The boot up jingle makes me so.
I hate
Okay,
it.
did I tell this? I think I told the
Yes,
story
it
about how
makes
that
your
jingle
son cry.
makes my son cry. Yes, and it makes me want to fucking punch somebody in the face. God, it makes me so mad. Dude, that jingle happens, and he starts crying, and oh my God, I just want to crack somebody's face open for making that fucking jingle. I mean, seriously, it makes
It
me
really is awful. Like I've considered on multiple occasions at this point unlocking my bootloader just so I can go delete the animation out of the
Oh yeah, you know, my bootloader's unlocked, so because I did it when I first got the phone because I didn't want to have to go through the bullshit of doing it later. So I keep forgetting, but I'm totally gonna go do that. I didn't know if I was gonna take it back or not, which is why I left everything else the way it was. And oddly, I haven't had that weird reboot bug in like 3 or 4 days now.
I don't think I have either, actually. Now that you speak of it, maybe it was some kind of issue with the Play Store, Google Play Services, or something.
It
Now
could
your
have been.
bootloader's all
It
installed.
happened
You don't
for-
have to worry
It
about it.
happened for probably 6 or 8 days in a row, and then all of a sudden it just quit.
Yeah, it happened to me almost every day for the last week until the last few days.
Yeah, so I'm gonna delete that partition, and I might just scrape the AT&T logo off. I don't know.
I won't scrape the logo off. I'm afraid of it like leaving like a mark where you can see the outline of the logo, and then it's like taunting you forever.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too. So maybe I'll just leave it. I don't know. I have a strong hunch that I'll probably end up switching to the Moto X when that gets here. My Moto X is set to be delivered on December 12th, so I'll have it in a week.
Did somebody just play the AT&T jingle?
Somebody did. Yeah.
I would like to hear
That
it.
didn't happen.
I think I missed it.
No such thing. We no hear it. No at all.
Oh, that's a pretty good joke Freak for Dell made. Carrier Pigeon 411. So where you talk about all the latest Sprint news? That's pretty good.
Okay. I think that about does it.
I just want to say Klaus.
Klaus.
I just want to say it. I really don't have a reason. I just wanted to say it because it's in the chat. There's a person named Klaus.
The new
How do you know
Android
it's not
Police
Klaus?
website will be unveiled sometime in the next 1 to 18 years.
Yes.
Maybe.
Secretly,
Maybe.
we all know the exact date.
I wouldn't take that as gospel either. That's just an estimate.
I feel like we're gonna skip straight to like AP5.
We're gonna skip to AP5, yeah.
There will be no AP2.
I wanted to let everyone know that when I drop my phone, it yells.
Is that the
Is that
Wilhelm
the
screen?
Wilhelm?
It is.
Yes.
I'm giving you a sound.
The old Mac boot up noise makes me so nostalgic.
I'm getting the
It's a nice
AT&T
noise.
sound out of your brain.
I would be okay with my phone making that sound on startup if it wasn't just kind of inappropriate.
It's irreverent, so that fits you to a T, David.
It's also the official boot animation sound of known heretics.
It is. And I am a known heretic, so...
Somehow I've escaped becoming a known heretic. Even though I'm podcasting right now from a MacBook.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's not your phone or your portable device.
That's true.
I've escaped being a heretic too, and I have an iPad. So what?
What if I told you that my primary phone is an iPhone? It's not, but what if I told you that?
I think
You're a
that's
liar. You'd be a known liar.
Well, it was already established when I started the show that I'm definitely a heretic. So, actually, I'm not a heretic.
You're more
I'm
of a
not
heretic
even-
because you do this show. Though,
I'm not
right?
even a tick. My soundboard is running off of an iPad Mini, and I record the show to a MacBook Pro.
One time we actually hosted the Hangout over Bob's iPhone.
We did. We tethered to my phone and hosted the entire show over my
Really, that was more of an
AT&T
AT&T
tethering.
That was really more of an AT&T feat.
Well, it really wasn't because it was a Bob feat. Because at that time I didn't even have a tethering plan with AT&T
Right, but it was their network that made it work. I mean,
until they told me to stop. And
All right, guys, I gotta run. So I will not see you next week.
Okay.
all right.
See everybody. Bye, bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Klaus.
guys.
Claus.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go as well.